Alrighty, what's up, Ringside Nation? The Ring Boys are back, down one. Doc's on a little vacation hiatus. Hopefully, he's enjoying himself. I'm here with my beautiful, lovely co-host, Artie. Artie, how we feeling?
It's Friday. It's Friday.
Friday, my dudes. We had a card. We missed a card. Life's been busy. What do you want from us? But we'll dissect UFC 304 from Manchester, England. From what was it, the Co-op Arena? I don't even remember what the name of the stadium was, because I'd like to bring and address a theory that we discussed behind the scenes to our audience, that if the flag has white and red in it, I think the card's going to suck, because Canada was trash. This was kind of trash. There were a lot of tough fights. Don't look at the redness in my column. I'm glad, Artie, you got the win. Artie 9 for 14. Doc and I split for 8. All the accuracies are on your screen. I'm not reading them anymore. My throat hurts. We'll get right into the title fights, and we'll talk shop here. I want this to be known. I'm going to say this, and I want it on record. I was going to take Bilal, and I flipped a coin, and I went with Leon. I'm so serious. Bilal Muhammad defeating Leon Edwards by unanimous decision. Pre-fight odds had Leon at minus 235. Bilal was plus 190. Made some money on the side because I bet Bilal on the side. Proud of myself for that. But yeah, Leon, like, when the fight started, was it just me, or did Bilal look tired when they showed him and he was doing like his pre-fight? Like, he kind of looked a little tired in my eyes. But once the fight got,
I think you're just locked in.
yeah, maybe I was just overlooking it. But once the fight got going, Artie, man, he just out wrestled him.
He outdid everything against Leon. Leon didn't outstrike him. I personally think Bilal was the better striker that night against a wrestler versus a kickboxer. He just outdid Leon Edwards, and I saw it coming because I think Bilal has definitely benefited big time from training with Khabib and that team. I think it's Eagle, right?
Yep.
It's I don't know. At this point, if Bilal continues doing what he's been doing, who beats Bilal? You put in Kamaru Usman, he's not gonna out wrestle Bilal. Bilal looks like physically, he kind of looks like crazy. This is like the most shredded he's ever been. And Leon is one of those people where he might have like one of the best physiques at 170, and Bilal came in there and he looked absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I know that there was some call outs, there's some permutations. People have already been saying things, but I think this was a long time coming for Bilal. He needs to take a little bit of time and he needs to just let it settle. I feel like I know I was like defending him on Twitter a bunch because there's a ton of casuals in the UFC or MMA community that like to say that Leon is one of the best champions for this division, and he wasn't somebody that kept it moving. And I think Bilal will be somebody that keeps it moving because he is always shown interest in being very active. I think the reason why he hasn't been active to this point is because he was waiting for the title shot because he knew he had it. But I'm kind of excited now. Maybe the 170-pound division will have movement again in the top 10, and maybe there'll be things going on that are quite exciting, and we won't have to see heavyweight fight nights every other week. So who knows?
Ian Gary enters the chat, says, "Hold my beer." No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I agree. Masterclass by Bilal. Once I saw that he said he was on the phone and WhatsApping Khabib the whole week before, saying, we created a game plan. And Leon, surprised me with the 2 takedowns he had and kind of showed a little bit of his wrestling. Like, I didn't expect him to even get on Bilal's back at all after the way the fight started. So I'll give him a little credit where credit's due. 192 to 89 on total strikes, 68 to 47 on significant. I thought that would be a bigger margin. But yeah, no, Bilal, clear eyes. Bilal can't lose. He's on the TB12 method, clearly. He's eating avocado ice cream. My boy's just shredded. And there's only one name, really. Like, you mentioned Kamaru Usman, but it's like Shavkat's the only guy that, like, I feel like has a chance within that ranking. I mean, I don't think I would be confident enough to take Shavkat to take down Bilal in a title defense, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
I don't think he could do it. I'll
I
just
don't.
say it now.
I don't
I
think
think
so either.
Bilal is far more experienced, and I think it would have to be somebody other than Shavkat to do it. And like I said, at the moment, I don't know who in the top 10 would do it. It doesn't seem very clear at all.
What I will say, and I hope I don't curse Bilal, over 35 curse. He's 36 years old. Title defenses, are very, very extraneous. I know Bilal is a different creature, but over 35 curse is a real thing.
I would agree, but like I said, the dude came in looking like completely different human than he did last time he was out there.
Yeah.
So I know there was quite a bit of time off in between the two fights, but like I don't know. I don't know how you can compare.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens in the welterweight rankings. But speaking of time off, hopefully John Jones's shoulder wasn't scared after Tom Aspinall absolutely decimates Curtis Blades. Listen, all you, as Artie loves to say, casuals saying early stoppage, whatever, it was just going to get worse. It was just going to get worse. Curtis Blades, you got your title shot. Sorry, it was, in enemy territory against the baddest MFer, as I like to call him. And man, we got to make Tom Aspinall fight John Jones, in my opinion. I don't know what else. Like, I get we're going to do the Stipe thing. We're going down that avenue. Yeah. But John Jones, if you want to really stamp your legacy on the way out of the UFC, however many fights you have on your contract, you got to fight this man. You got to fight this man. It's not going to happen, but you got to fight this man, in my opinion. Artie?
He's going to retire after the Stipe fight because he doesn't want to fight. That's why there was no congratulations. There was nothing from John after the fight happened. He tweeted some other whatever stuff, but I don't see how anyone beats Tom. And I keep saying this, but he is ridiculous. He is so fast. If you watch back whatever little time this fight lasted, he made one of the quickest adjustments I've seen where he knew exactly where Curtis was going to be coming from, and he hit him with a 1-2 that just put him on the ground. Like, what are you gonna do? He has wrestling, he has striking, he's quick. He looks like he should be in like 205, but he weighs 260 something. So I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous, but I don't know. I don't think we'll see him fight John Jones because John Jones is scared.
Yeah, a big topic on this card for me is obviously this was in England, but it was in England, and they had to accommodate the United States where their most viewership comes. And I don't even remember what time this fight was at, but it was like 5 a.m. where it was like, all these England fighters normally fight in the US. So the time zone alone, they're having to wake up later in their day, later training sessions. Throws them off as much as it does all the fighters.
I don't think that's a very good excuse.
No, not an excuse in any way, shape, or form. But I was gonna say Tom Aspinall was the only England fighter apart from Paddy that looked like he was training in late hours and was ready to go from the get go. And yeah, the other thing is crazy enough. I know that the pound for pound rankings are fan based. Tom 9, Leon 7. What are we doing? What are we doing? And then just the other aspect of trying to trash talk and get in your opponent's head, especially for when you're England. I mentioned Paddy. I'm not calling you King Green. Your name's Robert. What are you doing? That triangle choke, the way he slipped the guillotine, got his leg over the top of him. I'm the only one who had Paddy out of the three of us. And this was a clear representation of what, he's legit. He's ready to go. And I thought Bobby Green was going to try to intimidate him, be like, let's slug it out, let's fight. Paddy was patient, found it, and Bobby was the one who shot at him. What?
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to just slug it out. He shot a takedown on a guy who is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I think there is a different Paddy Pimblett than what anybody was ever expecting, because I think he was kind of tired of being taken as somebody who wasn't taking it too seriously, bunch of burgers in between fights. I think he's done with all of that. He came in there Bilal, absolutely shredded. He didn't have to lose a ton of weight like he did before, and I think that probably helped him a lot as well. But yeah, just pretty crazy. I'm surprised the fight didn't end when he was unconscious and didn't get his arm almost snapped. That was not great to watch, but yeah. I mean, it was like you said, it was 5 a.m., but whatever. It was also one of the greatest entrances I think ever. The arena that was completely quiet and dead for the past I don't know, 2-3 hours came alive and everybody was going crazy. Like, yeah.
That was the loudest I heard it on the whole main card, and
Yeah.
like it's just nuts. Um, but yeah, Patty now ranked, got a 15 next to the name, calling out Renato Moicano. Yeah, you think Bobby Green bounces back?
I
I
think
think if I'm
it might be time just to be a commentator.
I think I'm taking one more fight, and then I'm going to go to the pre-show and the weigh-in show and just
Yeah.
try to make my DC moment and start a podcast. Bobby Green, if you want to come on the Ring Boys, I'm just talking trash against you. I'll never see you in real life, but if you want to come on, let me know. Uh, another one of my favorite things that's Ring Boy specific is we like to call it the Doc curse. Uh, I'll leak text if I have to, but before the whole fight night started, I got my wisdom teeth out, so I was bedridden. So I was just in bed watching all these fights. And I'm like, what are we betting on, boys? And already you were giving us some thoughts. Doc was giving his thoughts, and he goes, boys, I got big money on CLD. And I'm so glad I bet money the other way. An absolute womp 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 for us. Christian Leroy Duncan losing to Gregory Rodriguez Robocop. This was even. The pre-fight odds were minus 120, minus 110. But man, like the ground game is just, you need it, and especially on home turf, like it's just not going to cut it like at all. Like he was getting pieced up, he was getting outworked, and it was just like at points that I get when you're going down late in rounds, you're just trying to survive, but you got to do something to get out of it, or it's not going to sway the judges. Already,
Yeah, not even close. That's all I have. It was probably like one of the most disappointing results that I've seen from somebody who's supposed to be a really big prospect to come out. And nothing against RoboCop, right? Gregory Rodriguez is a great fighter. He's shown it time and time again. He's super tough. He goes in there to win. He's a great wrestler. He can strike because clearly he was like TLD was kind of scared to stay up against him because a few times that he hit him with like a couple of right hands. It did not look pretty. He was wobbly a few times, I think, too. So yeah, not even close. Not even in the same vicinity. Yeah, it was kind of sad. Gregory Rodriguez maybe a little bit of the time zone difference kind of helped him a little bit in that.
I think I heard, or maybe I'm wrong, but I saw something that said Rodriguez was training in England for like a month for this, so he definitely looked like he was ready to go. So
Why not?
I just don't ever want, like, I'll talk about it after our next fight. Actually, I'll bring this point back. But Arnold Allen getting me some fantasy points, getting it done against Ireland, against Chikadze, and man, that was a good fight. That was a really good fight. Not because I was obviously biased, but man, I'm so glad this was the first fight on the prelim because the rest of the main card, because the rest of the main card did not line up at all. Already.
Yeah, this goes completely against everything you said at the beginning of the pod. He is an English guy who trains in Canada, and he won. So proof that you can be one of both and you can still win. Arnold Allen, probably some of the funniest tweets that you'll ever see from this guy. Giga, I expected a little bit more from, but I think this was just clear that Arnold Allen's at a completely different level than Giga is. Giga at 35, maybe the last few times that he might get shots at the top five. I don't see it ever happening again. Arnold Allen just came out and worked him, and I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, that's a bit. I just looked at the fantasy rankings. RD 25, or actually I didn't add Mom and Makai 28, me 16, Doc 23. I'm coming back, boys. I'm coming back. Now we'll have to see if Artie's allowed a free agent cut in another flyweight because my mom and Makai got cut. Sad. Just get your act together in the ring. That's all it takes. Also, to re-debunk your theory, the Georgian flag has white and red on it, and he lost. So if we really want to go there, we really want to go there. But yeah, I know that it was a constant theme. I'll just run through the results. Obviously, if you saw in the fights, Meatball Molly is, what do you like to call her, Artie?
Molly the Can McCann. Because,
Molly the McCann. Just canned it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it done. Callahan Lofren, what are you doing, pal? Muhammad Makayev, happy days. Enjoy the PFL. Obon Elliott, kind of legit. I'm gonna watch after you, bud. Marcin Perchino, hope you woke up. Sam Patterson, legit. Mick Parkin, legit. And Shauna Bennett, legit. The two things I wanted to mention before we wrap this up. The time difference is a really, really big thing that everyone's underlooking because what?
I disagree so far. It is absolutely hilarious that people even decided to take this as something that people are going to talk about. Because let me point something out. This is not the only combat sport in the world. Boxers do the same thing. And you know what they do? They train later in the day so they can be adjusted to the time that they're going to fight. Don't make this an excuse. Be like Gregory Rodriguez, show up a month before in the country you're supposed to be fighting, and sleep in later in the day, work out later in the day, spar later in the day, so your body's used to it. It's a terrible excuse. It is a terrible excuse. I understand for not for everybody, the finances make sense to go and be in England for a month, but like you could still work around it,
Yeah.
train at a different time. I don't think it's a great excuse, and I don't think it's something that is being overlooked. I think, like I said, there are other sports that do this. Boxers in particular are people who like. I think what the heck is his name? The guy who can't read. Had beef with 50 Cent. What's
With
his name?
Mayweather?
Yeah, he spars at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Do it if you need to. Like adjust. That's part of being a great fighter. So if you came out there like Leon Edwards and said, "I've been tired all week," maybe you should have taken an extra couple of weeks, and maybe you'd have been tired. So that's all I have for it. You're a professional. Work around it.
I agree and disagree. My angle on it is you can't use it as an excuse. The other point I was going to bring up, if they're saying, hey, like let's up the bonus to 100K, and this clearly didn't motivate people. Like Dana's not going to do it anymore. You ruined it for everyone. I thought it was funny. Leon was like, "Oh, Bilal, you're not knocking anyone out." It's like, all right, well, he beat you, so relax. But for me, it's back to when I forget what episode we talked about it. The diversity in having events in India and Japan potentially and all these other places. If this is going to be a constant thing, then they gotta just let their fighters be aware of it. Because if like that's going to be every fighter's excuse, then it's like, what's the point of even spreading and going there if we're going to get the constant same theme and we're going to get inconsistency in fights and all these fighters coming forward and say, yeah, I was tired or whatever. But I mentioned that because like what's the like Australia, right? Australia is a big time difference, but they do it at reasonable hours, and you don't see her complain about anything on Australia cards. Like they get that right. But it's like to come in and say like, oh, the time difference was an excuse. If there wasn't the time difference, maybe this fight would be different. Does not apply. And I didn't even think about the financial angle where you said like, oh, some fighters can afford to go to the country, some can't, and it's like if you're in Vegas or whatever, figure out the time difference and start training at that and prepare your body to get into that environment too early.
I agree exactly with what you said. Great job. Great job.
Like, I can't believe Mick Parkin got a bonus. I was dumbfounded at that.
Yeah, because the rest of it was really sad. I wanna
Yeah.
say one thing before we move forward and close this out. So for me, I understand Muhammad Makayev, troubles outside the ring. Somebody said not exciting enough in the ring, whatever. You already are having issues in the featherweight division where nobody really knows like why did the number 11 guy get the shot at the title? What are we doing in the top 10? Nobody's enjoying the division. They tried to get rid of it at one point in time. Why would you get rid of a guy who's 7-0? I understand the troubles, right? But we also do have John Jones in the same exact league, right? Where the dude's getting arrested at least once every couple of months. Enough troubles to cover for everybody in the UFC. You have guys like I know I talk greatly of him, Tony Ferguson, who's 0-7 in the last 7. What are we doing? I understand it's not exciting, it's not this and that, but the guy comes out and wins, and not for nothing, people in England love him. Like people watch Muhammad Makayev for a very long time, and he has a ton of support from that community. why cut the guy? There has to be something so specific that it would make sense. I know there was a bunch of rumors that floated around. Muhammad Mokaev said he would address the stuff and come out and talk about it whenever he thinks it's the right thing to do. But man, and he wasn't the only one. There was somebody else who got cut from the UFC in the featherweight division after getting 3 bonuses in a row for his performances. What are we doing? Like, this is already a division that is not great to begin with. We can't just be cutting guys who are promising and are good for the sport. And not for nothing, Mohammed Mokaev is like, what, 23, 24? The dude can change. Talk to his agents. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Whatever, Dana got his feelings hurt because the dude went out and talked to the PFL maybe a little bit before. But what else are you supposed to do if you have one fight left in the contract and things aren't looking promising? It's a business. Like, I don't get it. But I'm sure there's probably some great explanation somewhere, but it's probably still not going to be good enough.
I feel like you're missing a big detail, in my opinion.
What?
Do we know what division this is? It's the flyweight division. Why are we cutting fighters in this division too and not giving a contract back? Like, especially because like all of these fighters in the flyweight division are, you know, it's just constant movement, and Pantoja's just dominating the top. Mokaev is an actual guy that could go and actually give him a run for his money potentially if they develop him correctly. And it's like, if this was any other division, okay, get it, understand. There are other fighters. I'm excited. The flyweight division, we're like, we're what are we doing? Like, this is a division that like people really don't like. And I feel like Mokaev is the only thing, and the only thing I was excited for. Like, oh, we got a flyweight fight. It's Mokaev. Let's get after it.
Yeah, and people said it has a lot to do with his how he handles himself outside the ring. Let me bring up Jorge Masvidal, who's sucker punching his opponents and running around and doing really stupid stuff and discussing deals, discussing deals with boxing and doing things of that nature. What happened there? There are clear favorites. I think Dana, as a fan of the sport, doesn't like wrestling, and he doesn't like it's what it's being dominated by now at this point for a pretty long time anyway. Like, whatever. The flyweight division doomed. Pantoja is probably going to be champ for the next 25 years until he retires at 58, and that's where we're at.
Anymore? Listen, we're sorry we didn't get a pre-show in for this card. Life happens. Had to get a minor surgery operation. We got something in the vault for you, so look for YouTube when we upload this video as well, whatever that is. Don't know. And yeah.
Probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, today.
We'll figure it out. It'll be up. Yeah. Whatever. What are you, a cop? Anyways, we love you, Ringside Nation. For the common man, by the common man. All right, anything else before we sign off?
No, that's all.
Bye-bye. Dude, you hit that perfectly, man.